Did you catch it? Did you see what I forgot? Did you see what I forgot to include in my new MIG TIG welding cart? I mentioned it in the beginning of that video. There were certain things I said I wanted included in this welding cart build. It's a kind of critical piece that was gonna go right here. You know, I've taken on TIG welding. So now this thing needs to hold not only my MIG, but my TIG machine, along with, you know, both bottles, the cables, the foot pedal, the grounds, filler rod. All right, so this TIG rod holder mount needs to do a couple of things. First, obviously, it needs to hold TIG rods. Now, I use 16-inch filler rods, so I'm going to be making some custom tubes to hold these. I don't get the full, I think they're what, 36-inch filler rods. I get the 16-inch ones just because I find it easier to work with these. So I need to make some custom tubes for these rods. So obviously, that bracket needs to hold, I think it's going to be like 4 tubes. I think it's going to be able to hold. Second, it needs to act as a bottle support for when I ever decide to go with larger gas bottles. So here you can see right now I've got the shorter gas bottles, but I want the mount to go on the back of the cart where it'll come out far enough that these bottles, the taller version, will be able to get strapped to those instead of just relying all the way down here, this tie point. I'll be able to have one up here also, up against that mount or that filler rod holder. So I drew up just a quick drawing. This is what I'm going to base this off of. Now, I wanted to make it out of the same aluminum that I used for the side panels on the welding cart. The only problem is those are a little too thick for my little bench mounted brake. I can't get sharp enough bends in it, and it's gonna be 18 inches wide, and it's just too much for this brake. I've tried. Actually, if you see the video where I made that little grinder mount for my fixture table, it's the same thickness aluminum as that, and I tried to bend that up, and it's difficult. So I'm gonna make it out of some thinner steel. I'm also gonna obviously cut some holes, probably add some dimple dies to it, and that should help just make it a little more rigid, a little less flexible. So let's get started. All right, so here's the sheet metal I'm gonna use. It's a scrap piece I've had laying around. I think it's 18 gauge. Yep, this is 18 gauge, so it's gonna be 18 inches wide. And then I've got my little design here. I was gonna go with 3-inch tubes for the filler rod, but the difference in price between a 2-inch tube and a 3-inch was crazy amount. So I'm gonna go with 2-inch. It'll be enough to keep on the welding cart. Any extras I'll be able to keep on my shelf somewhere. I don't need to have full 3-inch tubes. So 2-inch tube it is. So I'm gonna lay this out and cut it out and get it bent up. So there is the basic bracket, basic shape of it. It's gonna go up against the back of the cart. These are the holes for the tube that's gonna hold the TIG rod. Now it is gonna extend, obviously, from the top through the bottom. So the tube's gonna hang down. I'll get those cut once I finish getting the holes done. Now, the tube I'm using is just some 2-inch ABS plumbing tube, right? Now, the outside diameter of that is like 2 3/8. I ended up cutting all the holes with a 2 1/4-inch hole saw. Now, I don't own a 2-inch or a 2 1/4-inch dimple die. So what I did was I took some 1/4-inch plate, made it just long enough that it'll fit in the hole. And then I cut this notch in the tip there. What I can do with that now is I can come along this hole, feed that in there like that, and then I can just press that down. And you slowly work your way around the hole, and eventually it'll bend the entire edge of that hole around, essentially dimple dyeing it. And it makes it just big enough, and now that 2-inch or 2 3/8 OD tube will fit in that hole nice and snug. And then once I get around to actually making the filler rod holder out of that tube, you'll see how it's gonna basically hold itself in place in that hole. But now I can feed that tube, once I cut the length, I can feed it through, and I can mark off on this section here where it wants to pass through, and I can cut that out with like a body saw or cutoff wheel or something. It's gonna be like an oblong hole, and I'll get to that later. But for now, I'm just gonna work on dimpling all of these holes, and that's gonna add some rigidity to this. It's gonna make for a nice snug fit for that tube to fit through. Now you can do the same thing with a pair of channel locks, but just because of the diameter of the hole and the shape of the thing that I'm making, there just wasn't any room to get channel locks in there. That was why I cut this 1/4 inch plate down so that it fits just inside the hole, and yeah, worked great. As you can see now, my TIG rod holder will slide right in, and now I can, eventually it's going to basically hang by that, and I'll show you that in a little while, but I got to finish dimpling all these other holes. All right, so there is the mostly completed bracket. Now we got to move on and get the storage tubes done. So like I said, the storage tubes are just 2-inch ABS pipe cut to 13 inches. And that's because my TIG rods are 16 inches. So put a cap on the bottom, cut them to 13 inches, leaves me with 3 inches of stick out on top. And then this coupler will be on here, and that's actually how it's gonna hang or be supported in the bracket. And then I just took another cap. I know, PVC, ABS, but these caps were 10 bucks a piece. The PVC are $2. So yeah, I'm going with the PVC. But now this will be the actual cap. So this will just pop on there. That'll be my cap. So let me put this into the bracket so you can actually see exactly what I'm talking about, how this is gonna support itself. Real quick, guys, have you seen the links below to the MoonBuilt Garage Teespring store? We got the original MoonBuilt Garage logo shirts. Maybe you're a fan of the Dodge D100 shop truck project. We got that shirt. Now that I'm pretty much a professional TIG welder, I got the TIG Torch shirt. Maybe you're more of an old school MIG guy. Got the MIG Torch shirt. Dodge Charger. I got MoonBuilt Garage decals. Guys, these t-shirts, they're not your typical 100% feel like you're wearing a burlap bag t-shirt. These things are next level tri-blend, literally next level, lightweight, super soft and comfortable t-shirts, guys. So check out the links below to the MoonBuilt Garage Teespring store. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for your continued support. All right, so here's the bracket. Here's the PVC tube. You just come up, do this through the bottom, into the top, and then right here, take the coupling, that'll get glued on, and then it'll just kind of hang. Oops, in frame, come on. You can just see how they'll just kind of hang by that coupling once it's glued on. And then the cap will just go on there. So I got to go find my PVC ABS glue, and I'll get this all glued up. So there it is, guys. There's my finished TIG rod holder for my welding cart. You can see I went ahead and I painted all of the white PVC caps a flat black. I still got to go and cut a couple short pieces of ABS pipe to glue into the cap so that it can actually act as a cap and stay in place. I mean, right now they're just kind of sitting on there for this, just like I finished this video. But that's only a few minutes worth of work. But yeah, so there's the upgrade to my welding cart that I meant to do from the beginning and just kind of forgot about during the build. Whatever, it is what it is. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you on the next one.